Mount Kenya, Kenya Kwanza rather, party is split down the middle over who to take the position of DP in the 2032 general election. The supremacy battle is there. The supremacy battle pitting Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua against Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro escalated over the weekend. That is splitting the ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition down the middle. According to the story here, the Nyoro camp appeared to fire the first salvo on Saturday when, during a funeral ceremony in Kericho County, endorsed the Kiharu legislator to succeed President William Ruto in 2032 instead of the incumbent, that is the DP Rigathi Gachagua. So addressing the mourners during the burial of the late Kemei, who was the father of Sigowei, Member of Parliament, they said that they are around the country that urged Nyoro to go around the country, quote unquote, greeting the people and Kenyans who decide when the time comes. The question is greeting the people, and yes, they will decide when the time comes. So according to them, they said that Ndindi Nyoro should start visiting the country and greet the people. And this is, according to the DP, he said that that's nonsense, for lack of a better word. And he's not, and his focus is to help the president to get his manifesto done and delivered to Kenyans. Okay, Katisia, I want us to move very quickly, just on this one. Gachagua Nyoro supremacy battle shakes Mount Kenya. Why is this debate of 2032 coming out right now, and yet we have got a deputy president who is on the seat? Perhaps a clear indication that they don't want him to get to that big throne come 2032. Katisia.
I think, Victor, that headline answers the question that Gachagua is not the second most popular person in Kenya. Because if my brother Arnold would like to assume that Gachagua is the second most popular after the president, then he is wrong. Because, you know, Kenya Kwanza, we know several individuals brought in their input. We have from Western, we have Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula. From Mount Kenya, we know for sure, and my brother here knows because, you know, he has just confirmed that he came to Kenya Kwanza the other day from Azimio. Rigathi Gachagua was actually endorsed by Mount Kenya MPs, where Ndindi Nyoro was among the leading MPs from Mount Kenya.
Yes.
He was just the MP of Madira, yeah, just like the Nyoro who was the MP for Kiharu, and they were colleagues in the parliament. But the Mount Kenya MP sat down and endorsed one of them to become the running mate to the president, William Ruto. So that does not, the endorsement by the MPs does not mean that he was the most popular in Mount Kenya, but they said, looking at the various factors which they were looking at, they said he is the preferred to become the running mate. And we know for sure the CS for Interior, Kithure Kindiki, when they did their election, he is the one actually who won to be the running mate. But some other factors played, and Rigathi Gachagua was made the deputy president. And we saw that time that the Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro was pushing.
That was in Karen.
That was then. Yes. Then now, you know, the deputy president should know that yes, we agree he is the second most powerful person in Kenya, but when it comes to popularity, I beg to differ. And what I can tell our deputy president is that he should just talk to his colleagues. There's a reason why many MPs who were initially pushing for him are complaining. Yeah, you know, when you assume power, you have to know that there are those who have taken you to that power. And 5 years, Victor, is a very short time. Yeah, and it is important that we accept the reality that both in Kenya Kwanza and in Azimio, there could be some issues. Yeah, but when Arnold says that in Kenya Kwanza, it is just small housekeeping which is going on, I differ with him.
You know, Victor, you asked who is the kingpin of Central Kenya, and I've not that answer coming out clearly.
I was answering, and then Victor rushed onto a break.
So, Victor. So I have not finished, Victor. You know, I want to tell my brother Arnold that it is, we are not fighting, we are just debating.
I've lost my sequence of movement.
I need to answer that question. Victor.
Okay.
Victor, you asked a question.
Yes.
Who is the kingpin in Mount Kenya?
I asked you.
Yes. And I wanted to tell you that in the election of 2022, the people of Mount Kenya dissolved the office of the kingpin and joined the rest of the country in building a republic. The politics of having regional kingpins is the politics of olden days, and in 2022 we were voting for issues. That is why, quote unquote, the kingpin that was there, he mentioned a certain kingpin who did not deliver the votes, who did not deliver the victory. Because the people realize that the only kingpin in this particular country is the kingpin that is called the voter. So the office of regional kingpins was dissolved in Kenya Kwanza. We are looking forward to dissolve the same in Eastern. We are looking forward to dissolve that everywhere else, because they are joining the people of Western and so many other communities that have done away with that thing that is so backward, talking about regional kingpins when we only have got a country, because we have no kingship in this country. Kenya is not a monarchy.
Diplomatic. That sounds so diplomatic, but
not diplomatic. Kenya is a republic and not a monarchy. We are not a federation of small kingdoms here and there. People who create their own fiefdoms in the name of trying to negotiate with Nairobi must be shamed, because we are in the journey of building a republic and a nation. We will not get there with that mentality of coming up with small fiefdoms and then claiming that you have to build a small kingdom of a certain region, which is balkanization in of itself.
And do you think this is settling the deputy president in the mountain?
It's
this headline, Gachagua Nyoro Supremacy battle shakes Mount Kenya. At what point will they come back?
First of all, it's a very small story. That story is not worth the airtime we've given it here. We should actually be proceeding to doing better things and bigger things, because this small story is so small that we are giving it, even in the PD, a paper that is given free of charge, is not even the headline. Why are we giving it a lot of time?
Okay, Victor, I think we need to put this in perspective.
To be fair?
I think, Victor, we need to put this thing into perspective. It's actually such a small story, like my brother is saying, looking at Ndini Nyoro, with tremendous respect to the fact that he is a Mount Kenya leader, he's a member of parliament, a honorable member. But let me use this terminology. This is a young guy. You understand?
Yes.
This is Ndini Nyoro. He's a youthful young guy. And he is being juxtaposed, he's being compared with the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. That is the story. The story is, instead of the Deputy President, conducting himself, using ethical and decorum in his language, he actually becomes lower than Ndini Nyoro as a youthful leader when you look at how he addresses the nation. This is the real story. And that is why I think that the head of state has looked around and he has understood what kind of damage is being done to him by having this gentleman as the deputy president. And he has to look beyond. And William Ruto, you can look at my clips, I've always told you, he's Messi, he's Lionel Messi. In terms of political calculations, you can see the same things with him, but he will be the first to strike. So he has already seen, and he agrees that Mount Kenya is already divided. They are not actually behind the deputy president, Gachagua. And he is now already clear he wants another person to accompany him in his political journey. And it may be Ndini Nyoro or not, but that is not a subject for this morning, Victor. You have asked, who is the kingpin? My brother is a political analyst, he's a strategist in communication. And he, by the way, Arnold knows when he speaks, what's not only the impact, where will that message go? He knows that. When you talk about Kenya, you cannot ignore political development and regional development. You cannot. I mean, you can have academic and idealistic discussion, but if you talk about Azimio, for example, you quickly go to Nyanza, you go to the coast. This regionalism is not necessarily bad. It is only bad when you rationalize and demean and or try to segment that particular region to mean something. Yes. But in terms of taking your home base, the background, the home block with which you go into elections, that is also happening. When you talk about UDA, you will find it strongly in Mount Kenya as a region, and you will find it in Rift Valley as a region. You talk about Wiper, you will find Wiper in my own constituency. There is Wiper, and I am not from Eastern region. But when you talk about political development in our country, you cannot be a sound political analyst if you are trying to say that we must ignore completely anything to do with regionalism. Yes, in the university you can do that. When you are teaching youngsters to come up with unification, unified mind on how to lead the nation. But you must warn them that in practice, regions are definitely always coming together when it's politics time.
Right.
Otherwise, if you don't do that, Victor,
yes,
you will try to weaken a certain people who are not keen, because you'll be telling them, hey, don't worry about your regions, I will take care of them. But in the real sense, all political strong wigs, the big wigs, they know very well that you must.
Is this move a calculated move? The move to have Nyoro and Gachagua, the two, their names are being called as early as now, way into 2032. Is it a calculated move? And where is it coming from? Katisia?
First of all, Victor, it is very interesting that my brother here, Arnold, thinks that when we discuss Azimio, it's okay, but when we discuss Kenya Kwanza, he says it's a small issue which does not deserve the airtime. I beg to disagree with him and actually challenge him, because I can see by the look of his age, he's youthful, just like Nyoro. He should stand with Nyoro, because that is the reality. That the president, and I think I agree with my senior here, Nyaribo, that has realized that the young people are now eager to take over leadership of this country, and he knows that Nyoro would deliver more to him than Rigathi Gachagua. We know when we started after they were sworn in, and the manner of the language which the deputy president was using when addressing Kenyans, many people were unhappy with him. And I think when we see Nyoro and Rigathi Gachagua being compared, I think Arnold should be happy. And to answer the question and to be specific, Victor, that in Mount Kenya, the current kingpin in Mount Kenya is the former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And you know, Rigathi Gachagua wants to take that by force.
How many votes?
You don't take that
did
by
Uhuru
force.
deliver in 2022?
And again, Victor, let me tell my brother here that we are not fighting, we are just debating. I gave you your time to. I gave you your time to debate. Uhuru Kenyatta was not in the ballot. Yeah, and there were no elections for Mount Kenya kingpin. That ones were not there. So we can't say that they went for an election and the guy they won against Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, we have to be realistic that the Mount Kenya region, yeah, when the current president was working with the former president, he was able to endear himself to the Mount Kenya people, and actually the Mount Kenya people were voting for William Ruto. We can't really say that the deputy president took the whole of Mount Kenya to the president. And that's why the president has options. He knows that he had all those MPs from Mount Kenya. He had Nyoro, he had Rigathi Gachagua, all of them together. So this issue you are seeing in the headlines is something which I can say that it's a move which is well calculated by the president, just to ensure that he does not lose the Mount Kenya region. Because at some point, the Mount Kenya people were saying, you know, they don't feel comfortable with this government. And
gentlemen, yes, we've been here long enough. We all know Yango Kumi, Yako Kumi. We all know that statement. Is somebody trying to avoid that statement? Yango Kumi, Yako Kumi. Because in talk of that 2032, the deputy president is here, probably is the heir apparent after 2032, quote unquote. But then now, why Nyoro and why not deputy president for 2032 after President William Ruto? Arnold.
Thank you very much. First of all, you know, like I said, this is a small story, but that we have actually painstakingly and quite out belabored this story. You've seen the kind of energy, the passion that is put in by Wakili Nyaribo here, who now officially on this particular panel is apparently speaking for ODM. And then there is here Wakili, another Wakili here. He actually even used our, we will tell you, we, our, as in who's, that is the first part. He's speaking as an insider. Then there's here Wakili speaking for, as in at least thanks for coming out very fast. You've come out of the closet and we are happy. It's not bad. Article 38 allows you that. So, first of all, Mount Kenya is having a little moment of housekeeping, which is normal in politics. Let us allow them that particular time. Two, it's too early to be speaking about 2032. We still have got 2027 in between. So, when a small, and you know, when something happens in Mount Kenya, there are people who are using magnifying glass and microscope to try and look for issues. That is why we are scrounging for news. And you see, that is a news piece. But you guys are journalists, and you all know that when you are writing a news piece, it's only what has been put there, that facts are sacred and opinion is free.
Yeah.
So in a news piece, you do not bring in your opinion, but you can actually see this news piece is actually laced with opinion. So you don't know whether it's an op-ed or it's a news piece. Something that actually then makes it not something that we should actually be taking a lot of time to discuss. There are a lot of bigger problems as well. Like I've told you, Azimio has disintegrated. People whose house is burning are running to actually talk about a man and his wife who are having a discussion in their own house. These two should actually be working so hard to ensure that on Thursday when Azimio meets, there is no explosion on that particular end. That they are doing housekeeping on their end to ensure that things work out.
Okay.
I think
So
for this story,
I think Victor,
for this story, let me just help my two friends.
Yes.
That this problem in Mount Kenya is a storm in a teacup. Let us really not create hills out of molehills. We are creating mountains out of molehills. It's a so small a thing, and we have such like conversations going on everywhere. They are bullying me. Look at those hands being raised both on my right and left. I can't speak.
Victor, I think
protect me.
I just want to give my opinion. I have no problem with my brother Marimba.
Can I finish? They are raising their hands and intimidating me. This kind of intimidation is not what we should actually accept.
No, you are safe.
I think Arnold has run short of ideas. That's why he's saying he's being intimidated.
I want to say something. Victor,
Yes.
what you need to appreciate, I think all of us here are very intelligent. I mean, I know my brother Arnold for a long time. We've shared these podiums. But if there are people who are clearly understood in terms of business acumen and interest in growing their money in a country called Kenya, everyone wants to grow their mony. But if there are people who are astute, who are keen, who are wise in how they tap business opportunities in this country, apart from, say, the Asians and my brothers from northern Kenya, it is the Kikuyu community. If you are talking about who is going to be a kingpin in central Kenya, it must be a person who will borrow money to the central Kenya. The moment you start removing business and money from central Kenya, whether you are a brother or a cousin, they will definitely spit you off. So this is the problem with the Gachagua actually. And I mentioned something earlier, Victor. I said, how many people in Kenya Kwanza are benefiting? How many people from central Kenya today have access to big tenders from the government? How many people from central Kenya are enjoying, as Gachagua promised them, how many people are now able from central Kenya to grow their business, grow their money? That is where the problem is. They thought that the deputy president would, create a highway for them to make money, but he has not done that. It has been realized that only about 7-10 people are enjoying in the Kenya Kwanza administration. I mean, you saw Cherargei the other day complaining bitterly about, I think, is it Murkomen who had shortchanged him over 100 million. And there are several of those examples you can see on media. And my brother says it's social media. Of course, social media is a tool and we cannot ignore it. So what I'm trying to say, Victor, Ndindi Nyoro and the likes of Ndindi Nyoro will come up for central Kenya.
Yes.
Several people also will come up in Western, several people will come up in Nyanza. It is all about democratic movements, democratic, warming up so that the correct and the right kind of leaders are in the office. So I think when my brother talks about being spokesman or whatever, no, Victor. The people who are like me, who stand for objective, factual analysis are actually not many. And I must say, I have absolutely, my phone is an open book. You can check. I have no brief at all from any political party or coalition. But we have to analyze on the basis of fairness and at least what, your viewers can be assisted by.
Yes. I pray that Kevin Katisa should also come up somewhere in Kitui, and we can also call your name at some point in these quarters. This one, gentlemen, I want to talk about something that is quite close to us. We want to talk about law, democracy, and politics. And this one is just combined with what is happening right now. When we talk about democracy, Ndindi Nyoro has his democratic right to do whatever he wants, politically speaking. There is that bit of governance, politics and law. So let me start with you, Wakili Katisia. When you take law, democracy, and politics, where do they meet? And do they have an equilibrium point?
Yes, they all meet at the politics because democracy. There are democratic laws. There are laws which provide for democracy, and this democracy is ensured is used to ensure that the political outcome is democratically acquired and it is legally acquired. So they all meet at politics. And I think what this article is trying to say is that our politics should be legal, our politics should be democratic. And when you see somebody pursuing their political space democratically, that's the one which should be emphasized. Because, Victor, we know that, as my brother Arnold was saying, that many politicians actually, they bully their way into leadership, or rather they use other means to get into leadership. But what we should actually emphasize in our country, if we want to be a mature democracy, we have to ensure that the democratic space of every Kenyan is respected. If Nyoro feels that he is fit to be the next deputy president, that is democratic right, and nobody should condemn him for that. The likes of Arnold and other UDA supporters allied to the deputy president should not condemn Nyoro for that. So long as he also does that legally, because we have not seen anywhere where Nyoro has disrespected the current deputy president. Yeah. So he's ensuring that he respects the party constitution, UDA party constitution, because in the UDA party constitution, I'm sure the deputy president is the deputy party leader. And we have not seen the Nyoro disrespecting the deputy president. So as he pursues his political space in UDA and in government, it has to be legal, it has to be democratic. And anybody supporting him must also ensure that they do so in a more legal and a more democratic manner. So in my opinion, law and democracy meets at the political space. That's where they meet, and everything must be done within a legal manner. Yeah. So my opinion is that as we pursue and as we move towards 2027, let's hope that we do politics in a more democratic manner. If it is the UDA party, grassroots elections, let them be democratic. Let not a few individuals impose themselves on the people and say, you know, I am the current MP of this area, I have to be the party chairman, because that is why in Mount Kenya, the elections will not be done. So democracy must be upheld. Yes, thank you.
Arnold, where do we split the three? Where we have got democracy, we have got law, we have got politics. At what point do they meet?
You know, at the apex is politics. That is at least the human interaction at sharing resources, engaging with resources and each other. Politics is at the top. Then down here, you bring in the law. Under the law, you are looking at legislation, you are looking at statutes, you are looking at policy, and everything that falls under that. That is actually then the strategy or the agreed upon, the disposition, rather that point upon which then we try to set rules of engaging in politics. When you talk about democracy or governance, whatever way, assuming that for us looking at governance, then we are talking about democracy being our favored option, is an outcome of the strategy. So politics is the end goal, or rather the big objective. Law is actually the strategy that works out of that. And democracy, stroke governance, whatever it is anybody chooses from wherever they are, then becomes the output. So for me, that is how you actually cascade down. Yeah.
Wakili Nyadibu, have we, as a nation, really struck the three together? Which one takes precedence? You've heard the two gentlemen speak of their own version. But are we in that space where we are saying that as a nation, we are able to strike the three to go in tandem?
You know, Victor, I think this is a very broad question you've asked in such a small moment. I'm sure law students at the Kenyan School of Law and the political science students would really take advantage of this. But it can be discussed later in a broader sense. But you ask me, you know, where they meet. And I would like to look at this from the governance perspective, Victor. For me, I appreciate how they have analyzed, and it can be argued in any other way, Victor, but for me, democracy is on the top of the ladder. Why? All institutions in society, including political institutions, law institutions, whether you talk about the political parties, you talk about the judiciary, you talk about the legal fraternity, you talk about the prisons, the criminal justice system, all these must be democratic. And especially for a country like Kenya, all our institutions are based on the democratic governance of our country. So for me, it's all about how we respect democracy in each institution of our country. And that is what can make proper governance. So where they all meet, of course, if you talk about law as it is used by, police, prisons, legal justice system, criminal justice system, that is law. But when you talk about politics, again, we all know what politics is, as my able panelists have said. But what comes ahead of all this, in my view, is democracy. Are you governing the country democratically? In these law institutions, in these political institutions, are you governing, are you respecting the free hand in each institution or not? Which brings me to what has happened in the recent past, and without dwelling there, where you see a particular arm of government is actually threatening the other arm and making it shy away from exercising its rightfully constitutionally set up democratic activities or duties. So for me, we should steer the country in a governance based on free democratic institutions, democratic governance, to allow every other institution to, share in its, small 10-20% bit of governing the country towards a better state. Yes.
Very good. Let's take a break, gentlemen. What an interesting discussion there. Law, democracy, and politics. We're taking a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.